I think we were a pretty average suburban couple with good careers and a wonderful family. We were in our 30s and had been happily married for 15 years with 2 young children, Callum and Jesse. We are Paul and Susan. I was just under 6 feet tall. My former athletic frame had rounded out a bit, but I still had a broad chest and I hoped the weight fit me well, or so I hoped. Susan was a slender redhead, 5'5", tall before she was wearing heels, with an attractive 90-71-91 figure that I still admired. I had the same friends from school, we still met on weekends. But after getting married, our meetings became less active. We loved sports, but now preferred to socialize with our spouses, regularly throwing parties. Susan spent a lot of time with her best friend Claire, as well as her mother Anna. Claire was a bridesmaid at our wedding and our children's favorite aunt, although they were not actually related. To be honest, after the divorce from the idiot who deceived her, we became even closer. She was a wonderful and cheerful person and did not deserve this. When they left, I often stayed with the children, which I liked. I managed to be a fun parent, keeping the kids happy, while Susan was stricter, but we got along well in that regard. Susan was acting strange for a while. I tried to ask questions gently, but I couldn't figure out exactly what was wrong. Sometimes she was nervous about money, or lack of it, and wanted to move into a bigger house and take luxurious vacations. I focused more on the kids and social life, but took on a lot of overtime to cover vacation expenses. Susan began to communicate less with our friends, preferring to see her mother. She eventually admitted that she was worried about her. Her stepfather died a year and a half ago, leaving her mother a widow, and despite our efforts to support her, she could not move on with her life. Susan focused on her mother, often inviting her over for dinners and bottles of wine. Anna seemed to enjoy our company, but refused any other social activity. Over time, I began to wonder if Susan was trying to create situations for me to spend time with her mom. This didn't bother me. We got along great, and I enjoyed her company. She was 53 years old, but looked much younger, and was often mistaken for Susan's sister. I kept telling her that there would be a long line of men behind her wanting to ask her out, which at least seemed to make her a little happy. Our meetings became more frequent. Perhaps this was Susan's attempt to help Anna begin to communicate with men again, and a harbinger of more active social communication. It was with these thoughts in mind that I had one of the strangest conversations of my life while sitting on the couch watching TV. "Paul, I'm really worried about Mom. She's really having a hard time since George died. She's lost the love of her life and she just doesn't know how to move on. We're trying to help her. You're very supportive. Not sure what else we can do." "You were wonderful to her. Did I tell you what she said? You remind her of George when he was younger. After my useless father left with his girlfriend, it took George a long time to convince his mother to give him a chance. He was so patient and understanding. She just needs time to find someone like George." Susan was silent for what seemed like an eternity. I thought maybe she was starting to doze off. "I think you should ask her out." Out of surprise, I laughed, understanding the joke. But then Susan didn't laugh. "You're serious, aren't you?" "Yes, I'm serious. Look, I know this sounds weird, but she needs to get over this barrier, and we are the only people who can help her. More specifically, you, because you are a man." "Thank you for noticing, but I'm her brother-in-law. This is hardly suitable. Why not try to find someone her age?" "She absolutely refuses to even talk to another man. You are the only one she trusts." "Okay, then a date between friends, just to get her used to going out again. I can do that, I guess." "Yeah, a date, mostly. But if it goes further than that, I wouldn't mind." "What do you mean?" "She needs to feel wanted, to make sure she's still attractive to men. I can flirt a little, of course, many men find her attractive. Honestly, I don't think she even knows it. Her confidence is at 0 and she's forgotten what it's like. She thinks all the guys are trying to take advantage of her. She needs to realize she can be with another man." "Damn, it sounds like you're asking me to sleep with her." Susan shrugged. "You can't be serious. She's your mom. Don't tell me you're not attracted to her. I've seen the way you look and you get along so well." All I'm saying is that I'll be calm no matter the outcome. And I assume you don't care if I cheat on you? It's not cheating if I suggested it, and I know it. I see it more as an act of love. It's safe because I know you both love me, and you'll come back to me. And your mom knows about your great plan. She'll explode when you tell her. We've talked about it, a lot, in fact. I think she's starting to accept the idea. This is just crazy, Susan. I know it sounds weird, but just think about it, okay? Don't dismiss the idea. Before I had a chance to think it through, Susan almost attacked me, rolling on top of me and kissing me passionately, eager to excite me. We talked a lot about this. Susan constantly insisting that she was happy with any outcome. My initial denial of the idea gradually began to fade. I had to face the truth about Anna's attractiveness to me. She was still gorgeous. She had long brown hair and deep brown eyes and was a wonderful woman with a wonderful character. I really wanted to help her, and it wouldn't be hard. Far from it. I was married, but my wife suggested it. So potentially having sex with an attractive woman for both a noble reason and permission, it was almost too good to be true. I finally agreed to meet with Anna at a neutral location without Susan to discuss this. We exchanged pleasantries and ordered drinks before I found the courage to mention the elephant in the room. Anna, Susan mentioned that it would be okay for her if we wanted to do this, go out together. How do you feel about that? It seems strange, to be honest, but we've always gotten on well, so it might work. I'll be honest, Paul, something really needs to change. I'm very lonely, but I find it hard to trust men. My first husband treated me very bad. She looked like she was going to cry. So I walked over to her chair and hugged her. Her perfume and the feel of her body surprised me. It was absolutely heavenly. I didn't want to delve deeper, so I tried to lighten the mood. Well, I'm more than enjoying my time with you, and I think we can consider this our first date. It's not that bad, is it? The corners of Anna's lips turned into a beautiful smile. Thanks, Paul. It's really not that bad. I feel better. We enjoyed dinner and light conversation, relaxing enough for me to ask her a few more questions. I asked a lot about her life and relationship with George. Anna was as open and sociable as always. If we go ahead with this, is there anything in particular you'd like to get out of this, Anna? It's been so long. I haven't dated someone new in almost 30 years. I'm not even sure I can. Believe me, you can. You're great company. You just need to be yourself. You're very attractive, and you need to start living again instead of just existing. Anyway, you're doing great tonight. That's so nice of you to say, and I'm doing really well because I'm with you. We're friends, and you're easy to talk to. Okay, we can meet again if you want and see if it helps you regain your confidence. This should be easy enough. You're a beautiful woman, Anna. You'll have a hard time fighting off those who want to. We enjoyed several dinners together, each one relaxing and fun. I drove Anna home and turned off the car engine. Before I could say goodbye, Anna leaned over and gave me a quick kiss on the lips. I was stunned by how awkward it was, but the kiss felt like being struck by lightning. Sorry, Paul. I've been thinking about this for a long time. I couldn't hold it in any longer. Don't be sorry. I leaned down and kissed her properly. It was a long and passionate kiss. We finally pulled away from each other. Wow, that was a kiss. Are you sure you want to continue, Anna? She nodded. Yeah, it feels right. Good, somehow. And you want this to develop further? Are you asking about sex, Paul? I swallowed, trying to maintain eye contact. I guess so. I'd like us to get closer. I've discussed it with Susan, and she's very supportive of it. It was all her idea. I was turned on. It was partly because she was attractive, but her straightforward and specific statements turned me on. Obviously, of the three of us, I was behind. You like it, Paul? Would you like to sleep with me? I can't deny it, Anna, but I'm not sure it's right. I think that's right. I may not trust many men, Paul, but I'm a sexual being, and I'm very attracted to you. I'm sure we'll have a great time. I was now completely in the grip of excitement, and my eyes involuntarily dropped to her chest. I could see the top of her bra, how she was breathing heavily and nervously. Anna smiled. Watch as much as you want, Paul. Everything I have is yours if you want it. I was speechless, so excited, and amazed. My attention was broken when Anna took my hand in hers. "What do you want out of this, Paul? This is a one-time opportunity. Is there anything I can offer you? A dream that Susan didn't fulfill?" The thought flashed into my mind before I could stop it, and I began to stutter. No, nothing." Anna smiled. It was very disarming. "Now I know you're lying. I promise not to say a word. Please share your fantasy with me." "I can't tell you. There is one thing, but it's really awkward to mention. You might consider it disrespectful to George. It's not the widow in black, is it?" My eyes widened in horror. "Oh God, this is it. Tell me more." Okay. I admit it crossed my mind. You saw Monica Bellucci in the James Bond movie Spectre. I think you look like her. Sorry, it's just a stupid fantasy." "I wish I looked like her, but thanks for the comparison. So do you like the whole black peplum-seamed stockings and heels thing?" "Sorry, that was a stupid thing to mention." "No need to apologize. Let me tell you a secret. George loved buying me lingerie, and I loved dressing up for him. I have a lot of those as well as different uniforms. I'd love to make your fantasy come true." My thoughts were now racing. Wow, really? That would be, well, wow. If we're doing this, let's do it right. I already have everything I need, and you're taking care of the widow's needs after all. If I'm at it, I want you in a smart suit and dinner at a fancy restaurant. Have you agreed on Friday? I was still in a fog when we parted with another lingering kiss. I sat in the car trying to make sense of our conversation, mostly reminding myself that Anna was more than ready for sex, and then trying to anticipate Susan's reaction. When I arrived home, I expected Susan to be angry that I told her about our conversation, although I had missed the whole story about the widow's fantasy. She was surprisingly calm, which was partly because Anna had already called her, and she knew we had a date planned. Susan was absolutely calm. I couldn't stop suggesting that we cancel everything, but she insisted that I couldn't do it. It was exactly what her mother needed. She helped prepare my suit and iron my shirt. It was all quite surreal. She kissed me as I left and shocked me by telling me she would see me tomorrow. Not just a date, but a night out, damn it. I was waiting in a high-class restaurant, feeling ostentatious in my suit and with my stomach upturned with excitement, barely able to keep the expensive dish inside. Then I saw her and was amazed. She spoke to the head waiter, who was clearly fascinated by her. I saw her in profile, noticed all her curves, and caught a glimpse of her attractive ass and the seam of her black stockings before she walked towards me. She was the absolute embodiment of my sexual fantasy. A tight-fitting black cotton jacket covered a white satin blouse that was clearly struggling, the material stretching across her chest and the buttons barely holding in place. The tight pencil skirt hugged her hips as she clicked on the marble floor in her heels. As she approached, I noticed that she was wearing more makeup than usual, including bright red lipstick and red nail polish. Her hair was pulled up, emphasizing her height and elegance. I tried to close my mouth so as not to start drooling. She smiled at me. "I suppose this meets your expectations, Paul? Or is it James Bond?" "Let's stay with Paul. I don't want to be interrupted by the villains. And yes, this definitely meets my expectations. You are absolutely amazing. I hope you feel comfortable in it." "Well, not exactly comfortable, but I do feel good. It's erotic dressing for your deepest desire." I left the fascinator and mesh veil in the car. It seemed like it would be too much for a restaurant. I feel honored. We had another great evening filled with eating, drinking, and dancing before we returned to her house. She put on the fascinator and veil as soon as she got out of the car. Now she was the archetypal widow, and my dream came true. I was stunned when she led me straight up the stairs to her bedroom. "Are you sure you want to do this?" "What? Have sex?" "Yes, that's exactly what I want to do, Paul. I intend to make your fantasy come true." She pushed me back to sit on the bed and slowly began to undress. First, she took off her jacket, then slowly unbuttoned her blouse, revealing a bustier that pushed up her magnificent breasts. She slowly pulled her skirt down to reveal stockings, garters, and French panties. "Keep everything on, including the veil and heels." Of course, lover, whatever you want. Anna deftly knelt down. It was the hottest thing I've ever experienced. Then, we had the wildest sex. After that, we collapsed in a heap, gasping and gasping, with me lying on her back. God, I didn't even realize how necessary this was. I'm going to dry you off tonight. The next morning, we repeated this again and again. She was a sexual dynamo. I've never met a woman who was so loud, so demanding and encouraging at the same time that it seemed like I was completely under her spell. I went home in trepidation, not knowing what reaction to expect, almost tiptoeing back into our house. Susan was in the kitchen. Mom called and said you were coming back. Oh, did she say anything else? Just that you were perfect in every way. Are you hungry? Do you want breakfast? Yeah, that'll be great, so are we good? Susan was surprisingly calm and matter-of-fact about everything. We're okay, it wasn't cheating, we still love each other, and Mom seems happier already. Our lives seemed to continue as usual. We discussed my time with Anna, like going to the store. Susan was delighted with her mom's improved mood, saying she seemed alive again. Luckily, she never asked me to share details. Susan was back to her normal self. I didn't want to dig too deep into why. I was just happy that things seemed better. Unfortunately, this did not last. Over time, Susan again became withdrawn and distracted. I wondered if she regretted letting me spend time with her mom. I tried to apologize and said that there would be no repetition, but she insisted that she had no regrets. I called Anna, but she could offer no explanation for Susan's behavior, insisting that it had nothing to do with our actions. Susan asked her mom about our night together and was glad how things turned out. The feeling of distance continued, lasting for weeks, as I tried in every possible way to get back into Susan's good graces. Susan. How did all this happen is the question that was constantly running through my head. Once the kids were a little older and I didn't have to keep an eye on them all the time, I started going out with my best friend Claire. We met my two nieces, Kate and Juliet. It was just once every few weeks where we could combine our schedules, and I really enjoyed it. The girls were young and full of energy. We got along great, along with Claire, who was always cheerful and could easily communicate with almost anyone. Both girls were attractive and attracted a lot of attention, but I was surprised that some of that attention was directed at both Claire and me. The girls and Claire, who had been divorced 3 years ago, were free, and I felt a little left out. I liked the communication and jokes. The conversations were funny, especially when young guys praised the virtues of experienced women. It didn't oblige me to anything. I would never cheat on Paul. It was just a little fun and an escape from the life of a wife and mom. We found ourselves in a difficult situation one evening when some guys we didn't know started getting a little too clingy. I was worried about the girls, but I had a hard time dealing with the guy who tried to kiss me. I was pushing him away and was thinking about pouring the drink on him when suddenly he disappeared. It took me a few seconds to realize that someone had pulled him from the table and thrown him onto the floor. The guy rose to his feet, and his 3 friends joined him, standing opposite my savior. I suddenly recognized him as Edward Rochester, a wealthy client with work. He looked different without his business suit. He was a big, physically strong man and exuded confidence. I think that's what scared the guys away. I didn't even have to fight. I insisted that he join and thanked him repeatedly, as did the girls. We spent the night with him without a break in conversation. His life seemed exciting. He lived in several different countries and became successful. Even though we all wanted to hear more, he spent most of his time asking about our lives and encouraging the girls. Point to follow your aspirations. He was very, very inspiring. They both seemed a little obsessed with him, and I couldn't blame them. He was brilliant and our hero. The next day I saw him at work, which was unusual because he usually only came in once every couple of weeks. He was absolutely charming, and I was in his debt, but he insisted that I stop thanking him. I told him about the girls who are now full of ideas about traveling and how to spend the year after university. When I talked to him, my stomach felt a strange fluttering sensation. I found myself checking my makeup and hoping to stumble upon it. The next time we met, He offered to accompany me during our next party to keep me out of any trouble. I laughed over the joke, but mentioned the details of when we will go out next time. My stomach churned again when I saw him at the bar. We were chatting, and he seemed interested in me. I was more than flattered. At first, my nieces encouraged me, telling me it was okay to have some fun and that he clearly loved me. And it really was so fun. It was like I was young again, when everything seemed possible, and I wanted to go with the flow. The next evening, we met again, and the girls seemed a little worried and said they loved Uncle Paul and shouldn't do anything stupid. I didn't understand what they meant. It wasn't anything serious after all. It was Claire who noticed me kissing him goodnight, and I got a lecture from her about how to be a damn idiot and not think about Paul, and that I better not let things go any further. After that, she refused to come with us if Edward was nearby. I tried to leave it here, but I kept thinking about Edward. He was in such good shape, especially when I compared him to Paul, who had let himself go a little bit. Around the same time, I had the idea that Paul would help my mother. I knew that she was depressed, and she tried to hide her visits to doctors from me. She needed a fresh start, and the only person who seemed to encourage her and make her smile was Paul. We often saw Edward off, but I rejected his further advances. Our taxi didn't show up, and Edward offered to give us a ride home, and everything went wrong. He dropped the girls off. They looked a little worried, waving us off, and Edward started driving me home. He stopped in a quiet parking lot near my house to drop me off, but soon we started kissing. It was exciting, but I was tormented by guilt. I stopped and forced myself out of the car, apologizing. I was really confused by all my conflicting emotions. It was all I could do not to cry when I saw Paul. I refused Edward's offer to take me out, but I felt my resolve begin to weaken. I started telling myself that having a quiet drink with him wouldn't hurt. Dinner with him wouldn't hurt. Then he surprised me with an invitation to my favorite singer's concert with backstage access and a personal meeting. I tried for weeks to get even regular tickets without success and failed in the ticket lottery. This was something I always wanted to experience. This request coincided with my decision to ask Paul to take care of my mother. I did it for her, mostly, but I admit that the idea of insurance may have been floating somewhere deep in my thoughts. The conversation didn't go as I planned. Paul was just too calm. "Who is this? And why do you want to do this, Susan?" I tried to be stingy with the details of what I was expecting. "I love you madly, Paul. It's just a one-time opportunity. It's mostly about the concert on Friday, and maybe sharing something special. It doesn't matter who it is. You do not know him. I could hardly tell him the truth, that he was a rich, handsome, and absolutely charming client from work, and someone who made me feel like a stupid teenager in his imposing presence. Paul brought me back to reality. Don't act like it's just a concert. If you want to go with someone else, I won't physically stop you." Without threats of divorce or anger, I was almost disappointed. He should have fought harder for me, but then I convinced him that there was no risk of losing me. Paul seemed more sad than anything else. "You had fun with my mom. Remember what we agreed? It's not cheating if you know about it, and I will come back to be all yours, just like you came back to me. You practically begged me to do this, and we both had a choice. You're not giving me a choice here." We barely spoke to each other for the next few days. Paul seemed to be busy, but he didn't leave or make any demands, which was a good sign. As I carefully walked down the stairs, I felt Paul's eyes on me. The bloody slit in my new dress opened up to my thigh as I walked down, trying to hide the top of my stockings. Reaching the bottom in his strappy heels, he gave me a disdainful look. "You're clearly working hard for him. It's a shame you don't put in as much effort for us. Are you sure you want to do this?" I nodded. "You had fun? And I think I have the right to." Paul simply left without a word. I took his passivity for consent and decided not to ask how he was coping. It was better not to disturb this beast. I left, assuring him that I would be back by midnight. The concert was amazing, as was the dinner party at the Michelin star restaurant that preceded it. The sex after that was, well, good. Maybe not everything I had hoped for, but the forbidden element was exciting. He knew what he was doing, but it seemed practiced and devoid of emotion. There was no passion. He asked me to stay the night, but I refused. Glad I kept my promise to Paul. It would have been easy to stay longer. The second round could have been better. I got home on time. Barely, but the house was empty. It took me a while before I saw Paul's note on the refrigerator. Back tomorrow. I called his cell phone and received the message, unavailable. I assumed he had gone out for a drink and stayed at a friend's to drown his sorrows. I thought that was normal. It would at least give him time to cool down. After all, I had thrown it at him without warning. I went to bed, but could not sleep. Usually if I was restless, I snuggled up to Paul and quickly fell asleep. I gave up at 5 a.m. and got up. By 10 a.m. I had cleaned almost the entire house to keep myself busy. My mind was a mess, trying to figure out what to say to Paul. He finally got home at 11 a.m. He didn't look hungover. "I'm sorry." "I don't want to hear it, Susan. I'm moving into the guest room." "I love you more than anything in the world." The last part was said to his back as he walked into the kitchen. I followed him and waited for him to ask how my night went. I prepared all my answers. It was good, but not like with us. No, he was not more. It was a one-time incident. There were no feelings. I still loved Paul and only Paul. But there were no questions. He remained silent, making myself a cup of tea. Not for me, I noticed. Finally, I had to break the silence, perhaps not in the most witty way. "Are you okay?" He just looked at me like I was crazy. "I understand that last night must have been difficult for you. I'm sorry." He raised his hand. No, you don't regret it. It was all very planned and deliberate." Not knowing what to say, in desperation I asked, "Where did you go?" "You know, this is the first time you asked about me. Everything else was only about you." To answer your question, I went on a date and stayed the night. "What the hell?" "Don't worry, it was good. Great. In fact, I have feelings for her, but it's not love." I heard an echo of my own prepared excuses. "You bastard, what bitch did you sleep with?" "This is no way to talk about your mom." "No, that's impossible. She wouldn't do that to me." "You're mine. I'll strangle her." "Well, how are you mine except when you want Edward Rochester?" How did you know his name?" "Oh, I know him, or should I say his wife. We've been talking a lot the past few days." "He is married?" "Yes. As it turns out, it's been 12 years since she talked about detective stories, photographs, and divorce in a conversation yesterday." "Oh, yes. And about wiping him out this time." "What do you mean, this time?" "God, did you think you were first? Not even fifth, judging by the way she talks." "Damn. This is trouble. I'm sorry, Paul. Can we forget about all this? I didn't cheat. You knew that. It's cheating if you planned everything in advance to be with him. It was a trap set by my wife that I blindly walked into." I called my mom, furious with her. "How could you, Mom?" "Come on, Susan, what do you expect from your husband while you're hanging around with your lover and rubbing his nose in it? I'd rather he was in my bed than someone else's, or getting drunk, or chasing your lover for revenge. At least I could say a few kind words for you." "How was he, emotionally, I mean? Do you think—" "He was devastated, and he seems to know a lot more than you think. You planned all of this so you could have a connection. It wasn't about me at all, was it?" "It was, Mom. I thought Paul would help you. I didn't know what would happen to Edward." "Honestly, I'm not sure I believe you. And Paul certainly won't. Whatever you think, Paul is great in bed." "You really mean it? Our sex life seemed pretty routine." "Then maybe you need to raise your bar. Girl, he was definitely not a routine. Quite the opposite. Quite inventive, in fact. I've never met a man who was so attentive." Paul just looked at me tiredly. "Why did you do that?" Damn. This was the question I feared the most. I knew the answer. It wasn't difficult, but I couldn't admit it without causing further damage. Even though my life with Paul and the kids was great, I wanted to give it a try. It was exciting, and I liked flirting and getting attention. I don't know. I think we became routine. I was flattered, and his company seemed exciting. I never meant to offend you. I admit I liked Edward, but I didn't want to cheat. I thought your time with me, Mom, was a reasonable trade-off, and we could both experience something new. What was so attractive about him? He was charming and handsome with an aura of confidence. He was different from you. I never saw it as a choice or as his superiority, and I never stopped loving you. We got along, he is younger and successful, he is a good guy, you would like... Paul's head shot up, silencing me. Fortunately, I didn't finish that idiotic sentence. Nice guy, yeah. Cheats and sleeps with married women. So younger, and the sex was better. It was more new than anything, but there was no connection between us. So I'm not enough for you. No, this has never happened. You are my husband, the father of my children, and the love of my life. Maybe you neglected yourself a little and gained weight. You yourself said that you need to pull yourself together and do fitness, but I love you just the same. Oh, so it's my fault now. I didn't know that our marriage depended on my weight. Maybe I should find someone who at least loves me. Oh, come on, Paul, you sit at home, watch sports, and drink beer. Your alternative is my mom, and I had to organize this for you. The look on his face made me realize that I had said something truly terrible. You bitch, I'm tired, because I'm tired of working and earning money for the house and vacations that you wanted, which the lover doesn't even think about. So not only cheating, you think I'm fat, lazy, and I don't like you anymore. What if I told you that? How would you feel? I would have been terrible. I'm sorry. I didn't mean... I'm sorry. I burst into tears and ran out of the room. As I lay in bed and reflected on the previous night, I regretted how the conversation had gone, finding myself in a corner trying to justify my actions and only making things worse. The realization that I blamed him was truly devastating for me, and I was ashamed of myself. Worst of all, none of this was true. Paul was a strong and attractive man. He had gained a few extra pounds, but he was not fat. I always wanted to take care of him, appreciating how hard he worked. When did I forget about that? It seemed that admitting to cheating, no matter how short-term it was the worst thing a man could do, but trying to make it his fault when it wasn't was disgusting. I then implied that he wouldn't be able to attract other women. I unnecessarily offended him in an attempt to hide my guilt, a conversation about being petty. I must have gone crazy. I couldn't believe I told him that. Why did I even do it? Maybe deep down I wanted to take a chance with Edward. I was frustrated with all the things we couldn't do and the lack of money. Someone as driven and successful as Edward had a lot of attraction, but I didn't want to risk everything, and I didn't want to cheat. I thought Paul's time with my mom meant he couldn't complain about it. This would allow me to experience new things. Edward did not live up to all my hopes, but he was a handsome and rich man. The exchange now seemed like a ridiculous idea. I was afraid that Paul would never forgive me. I needed to start fixing everything immediately and went looking for him. I went downstairs and found him in the kitchen. It didn't mean anything. Maybe it didn't mean anything to you, but it means a lot to me. He made me feel special and valuable outside of my drab life as a housewife and mother. What about my gray and boring life, going to work every day, taking every possible overtime to try to keep us afloat, so tired that all I can do is eat and stay awake on the couch? I didn't think about that. I need to rethink everything too. I was so desperate not to fail and let you down that I forgot about myself. I need to make some changes. I decided to stop doing all this overwork so that I could have a better work-life balance, more time to do something else. You may have to cut your expenses, maybe go out less in the evening, or you can ask Edward to pay for them. I won't see him anymore. Wow, thank you. That's kind of you. I'm honored. Damn, I just couldn't say anything right. I spoke to my mom again, trying to explain myself to the same lack of success I had with Paul. When I confirmed that our sex life was fairly routine, Mom was puzzled. I was amazed when she said that Paul brought her to multiple pleasures. She asked what I did in the bedroom to keep things interesting, and I was dumbfounded. No, I didn't have sexy lingerie. I rarely pleased him, and when he kissed there, it seemed a little dirty. God, Susan, you're going to keep telling me that you're lying there with your eyes closed. I really didn't want to respond to that statement. It seemed too close to the truth. I tried to call Claire for advice and support, but she could barely talk to me, asking if I was crazy, reminding me that she had warned me repeatedly not to do anything with Edward. Her last comment caught me off guard. Paul is a good friend, a good person, and he deserved better from you. Paul began to spend more and more time outside the house. I realized that he was not drowning in sorrows. He actually went to the gym every evening. Then one weekend he fixed up his old bike and started going out for rides. He started going on longer and longer rides, saying it was enjoyable and he felt fitter and more focused. He even joined the club and began attending club meetings, stating that he met people of different ages and backgrounds, all sharing a passion for bicycles. He got together with friends and returned to playing sports and hiking in addition to social activities with them. I really missed him, missed hugs and conversations. I needed the help of my strong and stable husband. I was trapped by my own actions and couldn't find a way out. We almost collided at the bathroom door. Paul had just showered and had a towel wrapped around him. He looked good, really good. It didn't take much to get rid of the weight. He was doing physical labor and was toned. I realized that I was getting horny. This realization hit me hard. You look good. Great. In fact, I just said you're a little overweight. You don't need to go to the gym all the time. Part of the reason you slept with another man was because I was fat. Sorry, not your exact words. What it was. Oh yeah, chubby. I internally groaned. I never meant that. I'm sorry I mentioned it. It seemed as if he didn't hear me. There was sharpness and hidden anger in his voice. But you were right. It's a shame you didn't mention it earlier. We could have worked it out together. Once I started doing it again, I loved it. And it's not for you. It's for me. He pushed past me and closed his bedroom door. Consultations have started as normal. What do we want from this? I replied. I want to restore our relationship, restore trust and love, and get back to where we were. Okay, we'll explore this further. How about you, Mr. Edmonds? I would like a partner that I can respect, that I can trust. I was glad. We wanted about the same thing. At least he wanted us to stay together. I already respected him and was sure that I could regain his trust. Paul then continued. I definitely don't want to go back. It would be an idiotic repeat of the same mistakes that got us here. Susan called me fat and lazy, and it was the loss of respect that allowed her to cheat. As for trust, I just don't see it. How will this ever be possible again? The consultant asked if I wanted to answer. I was amazed and had difficulty finding the words. I didn't see it that way. It wasn't a rational decision. Maybe there is some truth in what you say. I lost you. I forgot about all the positive things and everything you do for us. But I never stopped loving you. You may love me, but you've made it clear that you're not attracted to me. It's not like that. I like you. You look amazing. So what if I gain weight again, or I get tired at work? Nothing will change. I will try to support you, to become a better wife. But everything changed. You didn't like what you saw, and you found someone else, younger, fitter, and perhaps with more dignity. He wasn't anymore. That's not the point anyway. We're good together. Is that what you can't forgive, sex? That's all, but you made sure I knew you had a good time, so, yeah, you emphasized the sex. It wasn't like the love we shared. I think I deserve a partner who finds me attractive and can't wait to get me into bed like you did with him. But I find you attractive. Really. Honestly, you never put much effort into the bedroom. You just lay there most of the time, as if I should be honored to have access to you. When was the last time you dragged me into the bedroom, and why do I always feel like I asked for a favor? What, seriously? I thought our sex life was good? Yes. My experience with Anna made me realize that passion was missing. Maybe that's what you were looking for. Maybe you were different from him. But I wasn't different. It was like with you. The counselor suggested we take a break to calm down. I was still trying to understand what Paul had just said and remembered my mom's words about raising your bar. I needed to take the conversation in a different direction. There was no point in going around in circles. Paul, I'll keep repeating it. I'm sorry. I'll never do anything like that again. It was selfish and stupid. Yeah, but I'm sure it's a memory you want to keep, your guilty secret, or you'll share some nice memories and jokes with your girlfriends. I wouldn't do that. I just want to forget it. We can't keep hurting each other. I want us to get back together." Paul seemed to consider this, clearly thinking something through. "I'm not trying to offend you, but I need to do what's right for me, not just you. You were right. And in a way, I don't like who I am, and I need to figure it out myself." "How can you even think that? You are the best person I know, so strong and caring." "I didn't mean any of the things you said. I was just making excuses. It's my fault you feel this way. Let me help fix it." "Perhaps before you could, but now I don't think you can. You make things worse, not better." "I got a lot of my power from having you around. Maybe I became too dependent." "Please don't say that. I'm still here and I'd do anything for you. I never thought it would come to this." Things didn't improve in subsequent sessions. He just couldn't forgive me for what I had done. It was bad enough. But then he couldn't let go of some of the things I said to justify himself. He was attracted to me and respected me, but he just didn't accept it. I still don't understand why. I can blame motherhood, boredom, and loss of direction, but I think the opportunity was there, and I wasn't strong enough to resist it. That sounds like a very weak reason for ending a marriage. "You know, I can't forgive you, we're done, and I want a divorce." The reality of my situation dawned on me, and I fought the losing cards. "I understand. I'm very sorry. I still love you and would be willing to do anything to stay with you, but I understand that this is not possible." Paul looked at me with confusion, no doubt wondering if I was bluffing or turning him down. "I'm guessing you win. Get your rich boyfriend, and now you can run away with him. I'll end up in a shoebox trying to pay for this and see my kids once a month, and you'll probably poison even that. What have I ever done to you to deserve this?" "I would never do that to you, Paul. I still love you. I will agree to anything you want for money. You are a wonderful father. They need you more than ever. You could see them when you want. I know it's all my fault." I think these responses took him completely by surprise. He looked confused, nodding slowly in hesitant agreement. I decided to do whatever Paul wanted, including starting a divorce. I would resist, but not too much, and I decided to remain friends with him. The anger will subside over time, and I definitely didn't want to burn any bridges. If I can be perfect during the divorce, then maybe I can get him back. Paul turned out to be such a nice guy, and was completely reasonable during our initial separation. I stayed in the house with the children and child support. Paul was entitled to alternating days off, but I encouraged him to spend as much time with the kids as he wanted. He really appreciated it. I will survive. I was determined to stay strong, even if it meant divorce. I was an independent and attractive woman. I kept in touch with Edward. He was really heading towards his own divorce and was trying to minimize the damage. He wanted us to be together. In the beginning, I thought of him as a step up from Paul. This idea was shattered when I found out he was married, and now he was a fallback option at best. Things quickly deteriorated with Edward. His highest, the arrogance and sense of self-superiority, did not take long to appear. It is not surprising that his wife said that I could take him for myself. It turned out he didn't have as much money as I thought, and he lost most of it due to divorce. And who has 5 children these days? He looked like a very poor alternative to Paul. It definitely made me appreciate everything I had with Paul. I had forgotten how much I depended on him. He was so calming and emotionally supportive. He was so easy to talk to and never complained about much of what I suggested. I managed to remain on very good terms with Paul, and we were friendly. I saw him sizing me up from time to time, and I dressed in a way that encouraged it even more. It was during a party with colleagues when I saw Paul with those couples with whom we had previously socialized. I continued to look at him, but he didn't notice me. As always, he was calm. But when he spoke, everyone listened and always laughed. He was the center of discussion. Not to mention he looked so good, lost weight and tanned, and seems to have received some advice from women about his clothing style. I wondered how I could focus on the negativity and small irritants when we were together, taking all the good things for granted. I missed so much about him, his support and unconditional love. And he looks damn good sitting there across from me. When he went to order more drinks, I found the courage to talk to him. "Hi, Paul." I could see the shock on his face, but he quickly recovered. "Hi, Susan. Nice to see you." "Thank you, and you too. It's nice to see you with your friends." "I've always done this. You just stopped coming with us. You should come and say hi to the guys." I hesitated, not sure how I would be received. Paul was always popular, and I let him down. "I can't do this. I'm ashamed of cheating on you." "They'll treat you well. No one will choose sides. I'm sure they'll be glad to see you." In a few words, he made me realize what I had lost, and I wanted my husband back at any cost. Luckily, we only separated and not divorced. I still had a chance, and he was just absolutely nice to me. He must still have feelings for me. "Do you have to be so perfect, Paul? Can't you leave me something to cling to? You have the right to be bitter and angry at me. I deserve it. We have kids and we need to move on and be good to each other for their sake." "I knew you were a good person, Paul. I didn't realize you were a saint." "Far from being a saint. Your mother was." "Yeah, but I practically begged you to do it, and you always did what I wanted. I've finally ended my relationship with Edward. It's time to stop hesitating and get my husband back." Strangely, Edward didn't seem bothered at all. He said I was his biggest mistake, and he lost his wife over shitty sex, "You cheeky bastard." I tried to spend more time with Paul and the children. He truly was a wonderful father, so protective and caring, constantly making them laugh and having a patience that far exceeded mine. We talked more, and I often kissed him on the cheeks when he left with the children. I didn't date or see men, and I made sure Paul knew it. I also made sure he knew that a lot of guys had tried to get me interested, but none of them were up to the standards I was used to, and that was the honest truth. My campaign to get Paul back was going well, and I knew he had a great desire to be a functioning family again. If only I could get him back, I would be the best wife in the world. I even asked my mother to talk to Paul, stood next to her, listening on speakerphone as she called him. Mom started by emphasizing what an idiot I was, and that I realized it. "I just can't get over it, Anna. This trust is bigger than sex. She took me completely by surprise." Mom's eyes glared at me, emphasizing my mistakes. "You know she didn't mean it, Paul. She was just making excuses, coming back for the kids' sake, or as a favor to me." "I love you, Anna. I really do. And you're the sexiest woman I've ever met, but our time together really showed that there was something missing between me and Susan. I just don't think she was passionate about me, which is probably why she turned us against each other and why she cheated." I barely restrained myself from shouting no, but I managed to resist. "I'm sure that's not the case, Paul. If it helps you get back together, we could come up with a solution." "I really enjoyed our time together, Anna, but it wouldn't be right. Maybe if I had resisted more with you, me and Susan would still be together. Either way, you should take care to meet someone. Special things to share in your life. Trust me, you will not be short of offers." "That's really nice of you to say, thank you, Paul. Our time together really meant the world to me." After the conversation ended, my mom pointed out that I was married to a wonderful man, and it might be best for both of us to move on. My attempt to use my mother as a cover failed disastrously, showing Paul what he was missing sexually. It was annoying and completely disappointing. I wanted to be able to pamper and seduce him and give myself to him completely. Despite my campaign to get Paul back, the legal wheels moved inexorably forward. We were supposed to meet at a restaurant to sign the divorce papers, but I had other plans. I bought a designer dress, lingerie, and heels, wanting to look my best. I saw how his gazes slid over me. My body was covered in goosebumps at the thought. "Is this a nice outfit to highlight what I'm missing, or do you just want to show off a little more? There is nothing good in this tragedy. The outfit is for you, fool. I want you to pay attention to me again." Paul looked confused. "Let's get this over with already. I already signed the papers. Just take them." "Maybe we shouldn't sign them yet." "You've got to be kidding. What are you even talking about?" "I'm talking about staying together as a family. We are meant to be together. I'm not going to see anyone else, and I'm wondering if we have a chance. I love you. It's so simple. I didn't realize how much until I took the risk of losing you." And I was a fool for taking the risk, but I know deep down that you still love me. I was never enough for you. You always wanted more things and money. This was the life you wanted, the one we built, and then suddenly, you didn't want it. You stopped hanging out with our friends. You preferred shopping and bachelorette parties. None of this matters to me anymore, Paul. I just want our family together. Just quit if you don't want to work. We'll find a way to cope. I'm happy with my life. You weren't, so there's no point in going back to it. I want our life together more than anything. My episode with Edward was a terrible mistake. I would have been willing to do anything sexually. I should have been more creative with you instead of looking elsewhere. My mom still praises you. Yeah, until the next rich, smooth Casanova comes along and winks at you and waves a credit card. You know that expensive dress can't hide the selfish personality inside. His comment really hit home. That's not gonna happen, Paul. Neither of us are dating anyone, and I know you're still attracted to me. Who says I'm not dating someone? I agreed to go out with Claire tonight. We saw each other quite a bit, but she insisted we wait until we signed these papers before moving forward. Claire, my friend Claire, you can't be serious. Oh, but I'm serious actually. We were talking before your date. How do you think I found out about Edward? I thought his wife was contacting you. No, I contacted his wife after your little request. She was already on his trail. It was Claire who warned me about your plans, and with whom. She tried to talk to you over and over again, but you were determined to do it, so she stopped coming out. She thought telling me would stop everything. I think we both underestimated how determined and selfish you are. I opened my mouth in surprise. I couldn't believe Claire betrayed me and dated him. Paul continued, She doesn't think I'm fat either. You know how it is. You think everything works out, and then life and people change. Turns out Claire always thought you were lucky to catch me. We, me, and Claire. We decided that it would be wise to wait and not make hasty decisions, especially with children, but I will date her. It turns out that some women are still attracted to me. Paul put the final nail in my coffin. I took a serious look at myself and realized that my only mistake was loving you. Sign the papers, Susan. We're done. The divorce was progressing. There was little I could do to slow it down. I often saw Claire and Paul together. They looked so happy, and my children adored her. She was always cheerful. I tried to be happy for Paul. I really did. He deserved it after everything. But it's just not fair. He should be mine. Maybe if I keep being nice, I can eventually win him back to me. Subscribe to our channel so that your second chaff doesn't cheat on you, and go ahead and listen to the next story, because this story is nothing compared to the next one. If you're under 18, don't even think about listening to the next one.